I run my fingers over the faded cover of our family photo album, the leather worn smooth in places from years of handling. Evening shadows stretch across my small living room as I settle deeper into my sofa. A glass of Merlot sits untouched on the coffee table. I've been putting this off for weeks, but Mom insists she needs these photos for Rebecca's anniversary slideshow. The album creaks open, and there they are, me family frozen in time. Dad's proud stance. Mom's perfect smile. Rebecca's golden curls catching the light. And me, always slightly off-center, as if the photographer couldn't quite decide whether to include me in the frame. I flip through childhood memories, a hollow feeling expanding in my chest. A family trip to Yellowstone Rebecca front and center on Dad's shoulders while I trail 3 steps behind. Christmas morning Rebecca surrounded by a mountain of wrapped gifts while I clutch a single package. Rebecca's dance recitals. Rebecca's soccer trophies. Rebecca's beaming face. The phone rings, cutting through my thoughts. Mom's name lights up my screen for the 3rd time today. I silence it with a satisfying click. I turn another page and pause. Rebecca's 16th birthday party. I remember the live band, the catered food, the 50 guests, the professional photographer. I search the album for my 16th birthday and find nothing. Because there was nothing to document, just a quiet dinner where Mom spent most of the evening on the phone with Rebecca's college advisor. Some things never change, I murmur to the empty apartment. I continue turning pages, the weight of realization pressing heavier with each one. The album isn't just a collection of memories, it's evidence. Proof that I've spent my entire life being an afterthought in my own family. Then I see it. My high school graduation photo, tucked in the back of the album, its corner bent, shoved between vacation snapshots like an inconvenient receipt. I slide it out, studying my younger face, the hopeful smile, the honors cords, the valedictorian medal. I'd worked 2 jobs while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. Dad had promised to frame this photo. I stand abruptly, nearly knocking over my wine. I cross to my parents' living room, in my mind the shrine to Rebecca's mediocrity. And there it is, the mental image so clear it hurts. Rebecca's graduation photo in a gold frame on the mantel, her C-average smile beaming out at visitors. She'd barely graduated. "You've always been the smart one," Mom would say, as if my intelligence were a consolation prize for everything else I didn't receive. I remember the Christmas when I was 15. Rebecca unwrapped a brand new laptop while I received a leather-bound journal. "For all those deep thoughts of yours," Mom had explained, as if that justified the glaring disparity. College was still supposed to be affordable back then. Dad always said when I mentioned my student loans. Yet they'd paid Rebecca's tuition in full. The phone rings again. "Mom," I answer this time, steeling myself. "Grace, honey, I need a favor." Her voice is honeyed, familiar. "Rebecca has that charity gala this weekend, and Mark's mother can't take the twins." "You're free, right?" My automatic yes rises to my lips, the word I've been programmed to say my entire life. But something stops me. Maybe it's the graduation photo still in my hand, or the album of evidence spread before me. "Actually," I say, the word feeling foreign on my tongue, "I have plans this weekend." Silence stretches between us. I can almost hear her mental recalibration. "What plans?" The skepticism in her voice stings, as if I couldn't possibly have a life outside of their needs. "Just plans, Mom." My heart hammers against my ribs. "I'm not available." "But this is important, Grace. The boys were counting on Aunt Grace time." Her voice sharpens with disapproval. "Family helps family, you know that." Family helps family, the mantra of my existence. But the help only ever flows in one direction. "I'm sorry, but I can't this time." My voice wavers, but I hold firm. "Your sister has 2 children, Grace. Her life is complicated. You just have yourself to worry about." The familiar guilt trip laid out like a well-traveled road. "I'll talk to you later, Mom." I hang up before she can respond. My hands tremble as I close the photo album. The graduation photo sits beside me, a testament to achievements that no one celebrated. On my laptop screen, a Hawaii travel site beckons with images of turquoise waters and pristine beaches. I click on a flight option, my cursor hovering over the Book Now button. Maybe it's time I finally do something for myself, I whisper to the empty room. And for once, there's no one there to tell me I shouldn't. I clutch my reservation confirmation like a winning lottery ticket as I slide into the corner booth at Carmine's. The printout is already creased from my nervous handling, but I don't care. 6 nights at the Hanalei Bay Resort, a real vacation. My first in 5 years. The thought sends a flutter of excitement through my chest. Dad pulls out a chair for Mom across from me. Rebecca's running late as usual. Mark trails behind Dad with the twins. Lucas tugging at his sleeve and Oliver clutching his tablet. Perfect attendance isn't required for the golden child. Grace, sweetie, you're glowing. Mom unfolds her napkin with a crisp snap. What's got you so chipper tonight? I take a deep breath. This is my moment. I've finally booked my vacation. Hawaii. Just me and a stack of novels for 6 whole days. The table goes quiet. Mom's hand freezes midway to her water glass. Dad blinks twice, his usual response to unexpected news. Mark suddenly becomes very interested in helping Lucas with his booster seat. Hawaii? Mom's voice rises slightly at the end, like she's asking a question rather than repeating a fact. I nod, smile widening. Kauai, actually. The North Shore. I found an amazing deal on a garden view room. Hawaii. This time, Mom says it flatly, exchanging a look with Dad that I've seen 1,000 times, the one that says they're recalibrating their plans around a minor inconvenience. Me. Rebecca arrives in a flurry of apologies and perfume, the twins immediately brightening at her entrance. After kisses and hugs are distributed, she slides in beside me, her shoulder bumping mine as she reaches for the breadsticks. What did I miss? Grace is going to Hawaii, Mom says, her tone neutral but her eyes sparkling with something I can't quite place. Rebecca turns to me, eyebrows raised. Hawaii? By yourself? The word yourself hangs in the air like an accusation. I feel my excitement begin to curdle. That sounds perfect for all of us. Mom claps her hands together. We've been saying the twins need a proper vacation, haven't we, Rebecca? Rebecca nods enthusiastically. The boys would love the beach. When are you going? 3 weeks from Saturday. I answer automatically, then realize what's happening. My stomach drops. But Spring break is the following week. Rebecca cuts in, already scrolling through her phone calendar. Mark can take a few days off, can't you, honey? Mark shrugs amicably. Sure, I've got vacation days to burn. It'll be a proper family vacation, Mom declares, her voice warm with approval. Your father and I could use a getaway, too. Dad nods, returning from helping Oliver with his tablet. Your mother's been talking about Hawaii for years. I stare at my reservation printout, now splattered with condensation from my water glass, the ink beginning to bleed. The garden view room I'd splurged on my private sanctuary suddenly seems impossibly small. I think there's a misunderstanding. I start carefully. I booked a single room, for just me. Oh, we'll get our own rooms, of course. Mom waves her hand dismissively. We wouldn't crowd you, sweetheart, though the twins would love to have Aunt Grace time. Her smile is sweet, but her eyes are steel. Under the table, I see Mom's phone light up as she types something. Across from me, Rebecca's phone buzzes a moment later. She glances down, then back up at me with a calculated smile. The boys are so excited already, Rebecca says, though I haven't agreed to anything. Lucas was just saying last week how much he misses his Aunt Grace. Lucas, hearing his name, looks up from his coloring sheet with confusion. Mom reaches across the table and pats my hand. After all we've done for you, it'll be nice to have some family time together. My mind flashes to the 3 emergency loans I've given Rebecca in the past year alone. One for the twins' private preschool deposit, one for Mark's truck repair, one for the roof leak they couldn't afford to fix. none repaid. Meanwhile, I'm still making payments on my student loans while they paid cash for Rebecca's degree. I was really looking forward to some alone time. I try again, voice smaller now. You can have alone time at home any time, Rebecca says, as if I don't spend most of my alone time watching her children. This is Hawaii. A notification chimes on my phone, text from Maria, my coworker. How's the big announcement going? I told Maria about my vacation plans this morning, her enthusiasm genuine and untainted. You deserve this, she'd said, eyes crinkling with real warmth. It's about time you did something just for you. The boys can stay with you in your room some nights, Rebecca continues, already making plans. That way Mark and I can have a date night. It'll be perfect. I notice her fingers typing rapidly under the table. Mom's phone lights up again. I'd need to check if they even have larger rooms available, I say, grasping for excuses. Oh, don't worry about that, Mom says, waving away my concern. You can just call tomorrow and change the reservation. Make sure it's a room with 2 beds. The waitress arrives to take our orders, and I'm grateful for the interruption. My mind races through options while Rebecca monopolizes the conversation with a story about Oliver's preschool teacher. When I return to work the next day, Maria takes one look at my face and pulls me into the break room. They invited themselves along, didn't they? She asks, already knowing the answer. I nod, throat tight. You know you don't have to go with them, right? Maria's voice is gentle but firm. It's a simple question, but it lands like a revelation. Do I know that? Later that night, I sit cross-legged on my bed, laptop open to the resort's website. But instead of searching for larger rooms as Mom instructed, I open a new tab. The Maui Palms Resort on the opposite side of the Hawaiian Islands loads on my screen. With trembling fingers, I book a new reservation. Same dates, different island. I'll forward them the Kauai confirmation, I whisper to my empty apartment. They can have their family vacation. I'll have mine. The weight of deception sits uncomfortably on my chest, but underneath it, something else blooms. Something that feels dangerously like freedom. Later, while searching for my passport in Mom's old desk drawer left at her house for safekeeping, I find a leather-bound book tucked beneath faded tax returns. Mom's handwriting fills the pages, and I almost close it until a passage catches my eye. Grace asks why Rebecca gets more attention. How do I explain that some children just need more than others? Rebecca has always required more from us, more love, more time, more resources. Grace is self-sufficient, always has been. It's a blessing, really. We can focus where the need is greatest. I close the diary, hands shaking. What I'd assumed was unconscious favoritism had been a deliberate choice all along. I slip the passport into my bag, leaving the diary exactly where I found it. 2 can play at deception. The airport buzzes with early morning energy as I wheel my carry-on toward security. Maria walks beside me, her presence a silent reinforcement of my daring plan. You're sure about this? She asks, though her eyes tell me she already knows the answer. I've never been more sure of anything. My voice sounds different today, stronger, unfamiliar to my own ears. My phone vibrates in my pocket for the 10th time this morning. I don't need to look to know it's Mom, probably with another addition to the endless list of things I'm supposed to pack for the twins. The list she handed me at dinner last night sits shredded in my kitchen trash can, the physical manifestation of my first real no. I still see her face when I return the list unmarked. I'll be taking my own vacation. Alone. The words had tumbled out with surprising ease, as if they'd been waiting years for permission to exist. Dad's mouth had opened, then closed, his eyes darting toward Mom as they always do when the script deviates. Rebecca had laughed, actually laughed, as if I'd told a particularly amusing joke. Grace, Mom had said, her voice dropping to that dangerous octave that usually sends me scrambling to comply. The boys are counting on you. We've already told them Aunt Grace will build sandcastles with them every morning. My therapist's words had echoed in my head. What would happen if you just said no to them? What indeed? This is me, I tell Maria as we reach the security checkpoint. Thanks for the ride, and for everything. She pulls me into a hug. I'm proud of you. Text me when you land your real destination, not the family fantasy version. I nod, throat tight with emotion I'm not used to processing. Support feels foreign, like shoes that haven't been broken in yet. Your family will survive without you, Maria says, squeezing my shoulder. The question is whether you'll thrive without them. 20 minutes later, I stand at my gate, boarding pass clutched in my hand. Gate 23B to Maui. The family is gathering right now at Gate 16A for their flight to Oahu, undoubtedly scanning the crowd for me, checking their watches with increasing agitation. My phone rings. Rebecca, I send it to voicemail. A text follows immediately. Where are you? Mom's freaking out. The twins keep asking for you. I type back. Taking my vacation. Have fun in Oahu. Then I turn my phone off completely. The sensation that washes over me is so unfamiliar that it takes me a moment to identify its lightness, as if I've been carrying a boulder for so long that I've forgotten what it feels like to stand upright. When we finally take off, I press my forehead against the cool window and watch my hometown shrink beneath me. Somewhere down there, my family is discovering that their reliable safety net has vanished. For the first time in my 32 years, I am choosing myself. The resort lobby gleams with polished wood and fragrant tropical flowers. A young woman with a bright smile places a lei around my neck, the delicate flowers cool against my skin. Welcome to the Hanalei Bay Resort, Miss Sullivan. We have you in one of our Ocean View suites. The Ocean View suite I saved for over a year to afford. The vacation I've dreamed about while sitting through countless dinners listening to Rebecca describe her latest family trips, where I was always invited as the designated childcare provider, never as a guest. Is there anything else you need? The receptionist asks. Just my freedom, I think. But I simply smile and shake my head. My room exceeds every expectation. A private balcony opens to the Pacific, stretching to the horizon, waves shimmering under late afternoon sun. I run my fingers over the crisp white bedding, the smooth furniture, the elegant bathroom fixtures all mine for the next 7 days. I unpack methodically, arranging my things in the spacious dresser. No cramming my belongings into a corner to make room for the twins' expansive wardrobes. No sleeping on a pull-out couch because Rebecca and Mark need the second bedroom. Just space, my space. When I turn my phone back on, notifications flood the screen. 18 missed calls, 37 text messages, 2 voicemails. I scan the texts quickly. Mom, Grace Elizabeth Sullivan, this is completely unacceptable. Dad, your mother is very upset. Call as soon as you get this. Rebecca, the twins are crying. How could you do this to them? Rebecca, what am I supposed to do all week without you? Mom, after everything we've done for you. My thumb hovers over the power button, ready to silence them again, when a new message appears from an unexpected source. Mark, where did you go? Rebecca's freaking out about managing the boys alone. Something about his wording catches my attention. Managing the boys alone, as if watching her own children is an unreasonable burden. Acting on instinct, I type, have her call Mrs. Winters down the street. I'm sure she's available. His response comes quickly. Who? The babysitter Rebecca uses when I'm not available. She charges $15 an hour. The typing indicator appears, disappears, appears again. Finally, Rebecca uses a babysitter? A cold realization washes over me. Mark doesn't know. Rebecca has been paying for childcare when I'm not available while letting everyone believe she's struggling without help. I silence my phone and step onto the balcony. The sun hangs low over the ocean, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. For perhaps the first time in my adult life, I am completely alone by choice. No one's needs to anticipate. No one's emotions to manage. Just me and the sunset and the gentle rhythm of waves breaking against the shore. Tears spring to my eyes, surprising me. But these aren't the familiar tears of frustration or inadequacy. These are something new tears of relief, of release. A weight I've carried so long I'd forgotten it was there lifts from my shoulders. I breathe deeply, filling my lungs with salt-tinged air. So this is what freedom feels like, I whisper to the empty beach below. Later, I sit at the resort bar, laptop open before me. The bartender, a woman about my age with sun-streaked hair and laugh lines around her eyes, places a brightly colored drink in front of me. "How special," she says. "First night on the island deserves a celebration." "Thank you," I say, then gesture to my screen. Does it seem petty to be making a spreadsheet while on vacation? She leans over, glancing at my work. The document titled Childcare Services Rendered contains dates, hours, and calculated market values for 5 years of babysitting the twins. "Depends," she says with a knowing smile. "Is it a revenge spreadsheet or a boundary spreadsheet?" I laugh, surprised by her perception. Is there a difference? Revenge is about hurting back. Boundaries are about moving forward. She taps the screen. "This looks like moving forward to me." I nod, warming to her perspective. I'm not their free nanny anymore. The phrase feels powerful on my tongue, so I repeat it, louder this time. I'm not their free nanny anymore. The bartender raises her glass. "To boundaries." I clink my glass against hers, the sweet tart liquid cooling my throat. To boundaries. Later that night, as I prepare for bed in sheets that feel like clouds, my phone lights up with another text from Mark. "Rebecca just admitted she's been paying Mrs. Winters for months. Why did she lie about needing you so desperately?" I stare at the message, a strange calm settling over me. The answer seems so obvious now, viewed from 3,000 miles away. Because she could. Because I let her. Because everyone in my family has grown comfortable with the arrangement. I type my response carefully. "That's a question you should ask your wife." Then I silence my phone, set it face down on the nightstand, and turn toward the open balcony door. The sound of distant waves fills the room, drowning out the whispers of guilt and obligation that have been my constant companions. Tomorrow belongs entirely to me, and for the first time so does my life. My finger hovers over the send button. The message is simple. "We need to talk. Coffee shop. 2 p.m. Come alone." I press send before I can second-guess myself, then set my phone face down on my kitchen counter. The Hawaiian tan hasn't faded from my skin yet, but the peace I found there feels increasingly distant as I prepare for what's coming. I take deep breaths the way Dr. Winters taught me, focusing on the sensation of air filling and leaving my lungs. My phone vibrates against the countertop. Then again, and again, I leave it untouched. The calendar in my tote bag weighs like concrete evidence. Every babysitting session meticulously documented dates, times, last-minute requests, canceled plans. 5 years of my life quantified in hours given away. The spreadsheet tucked inside shows what a professional nanny would have charged for the same service. And then there are the screenshots. Jasper's coffee has the neutral anonymity I need: earth-toned walls, soft jazz, and enough customers to provide witnesses without feeling crowded. I arrive 30 minutes early to secure the corner table with the vinyl booth, a table where I can see the door but remain partially obscured until they enter. Maria walks in at 1:45, gives me a subtle nod, and takes a table across the room. Just knowing she's there steadies my racing heart. At 1:55, I watch them file in not just Mom as I requested, but the entire family squadron. Mom leads the charge, her face already flushed with righteous indignation. Dad follows, shoulders hunched, eyes scanning the room. Rebecca clutches Mark's arm, dabbing at suspiciously dry eyes with a tissue. The calculated ambush doesn't surprise me. I wrap my hands around my coffee mug, drawing strength from its solid coolness. Grace Elizabeth Sullivan. Mom's voice carries across the cafe as she approaches. pitched at that particular volume designed to communicate public disappointment. How could you abandon your family like that? Several patrons glance up from their laptops. A barista pauses mid-pour. I don't stand. Please, sit down. We've been worried sick, Mom continues, settling into the booth across from me. The others arrange themselves around her like backup singers. Your phone was off for days. Rebecca's children were traumatized after everything we've done for you. Mom, I interrupt, my voice steadier than I expected. I told you I was taking a vacation, by myself. But the family trip was never discussed with me before you all started planning it. Dad clears his throat. Grace, honey, we understand you needed some time away, but to leave without telling anyone. I did tell you. None of you listened. Rebecca sniffles dramatically. The boys cried for their Aunt Grace every night. I reach into my tote and pull out the calendar, placing it on the table between us. I've been watching Lucas and Oliver for 5 years. An average of 27 hours per week. I flip through pages, including 17 last-minute emergencies that required me to cancel my own plans. Mark leans forward, frowning at the calendar. I had no idea you were watching them this much. Rebecca shoots him a warning glance. Family helps family, Mom says automatically, her mantra worn thin from overuse. Yes, I agree. But it shouldn't always be the same person helping while everyone else takes. Mom's volume rises. Your sister has 2 children, Grace. Her life is complicated. You just have yourself to worry about. The familiar guilt trip washes over me, but instead of drowning in it, I feel it break against something solid that's formed inside me. I slide the spreadsheet across the table. This is what a professional nanny would have charged for the hours I've provided. $28,000 over 5 years. Dad's face pales as he adjusts his glasses to study the numbers. You're putting a price on time with your nephews? Rebecca's voice trembles with practiced outrage. Those boys adore you. And I adore them, I say, maintaining eye contact. This isn't about them. It's about how this family uses me. The coffee shop has grown quieter, conversations at nearby tables suspended as our family drama unfolds. But rather than feeling exposed, I feel protected by these witnesses. My family's manipulation thrives in privacy. Grace. Mom lowers her voice to a hiss. What happens in this family stays in this family. We don't air our disagreements in public. I take a sip of coffee, allowing the moment to stretch. I used to believe that too, until I realized that rule only exists to protect those who are taking advantage of others. Rebecca's face contorts. After everything we've done. What exactly have you done for me, Rebecca? The question hangs between us, heavy with decades of imbalance. She blinks rapidly, caught off guard by direct confrontation. We're family. I reach into my bag one final time and remove the screenshots. I slide them across the table. Text messages between you and Elaine Bennett, your neighbor who you've been paying to watch the boys when I'm not available. Mark's head snaps toward Rebecca. You said your mother was watching them those weekends. Mom's face flushes deeper. Dad stares at his hands. You've been lying to me for years, I say, my voice quiet but firm, claiming you couldn't afford childcare while paying someone else when convenient. This ends today. The silence that follows feels like the first honest moment we've shared in years. Rebecca's tears come then real ones this time. Grace, please. I stand, gathering my evidence into my bag. I love Lucas and Oliver. I'm happy to be part of their lives, but on fair terms. No more last-minute emergencies. No more canceled plans. And no more lies. Mom opens her mouth, but Dad places a hand on her arm, silencing her. I'll be in touch when I'm ready. I walk toward the door, past Maria, who gives me the slightest nod of approval. Outside, the autumn sun feels different on my skin than the Hawaiian rays, but the warmth is just as real. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Dad's number. I silence it without answering. For the first time in my life, I am the one walking away. Morning light spills through my apartment windows as I twist the screwdriver, securing the new deadbolt. The metal-on-metal sound rings with finalita sound I've waited 32 years to hear. I test the lock, listening to its decisive click. My new beginning has a soundtrack. My phone buzzes from the kitchen counter. Dad's face illuminates the screen for the 4th time today. I let it vibrate against the granite, focusing instead on the smooth action of the new key in the lock. The buzzing stops, then starts again immediately. Persistence, the Sullivan family trademark. I cross the living room, steeling myself before answering. "Hello, Dad." Grace. His voice carries the practiced calm he uses during business negotiations. "We need to talk, sweetheart. Your mother is beside herself." I imagine she is. I run my finger along the edge of my kitchen counter, feeling every grain of the surface. The apartment feels different today, like it's finally mine. "She's been calling everyone in the family." His voice drops lower. "Aunt Judy, Uncle Mike, even your grandmother, crying about how you've abandoned the family." My stomach tightens, but the feeling passes quicker than it would have before. That's her choice. "I'm in the area. I could stop by your office for lunch." Not a question. I glance at my watch. My lunch hour begins in 20 minutes. Of course he knows my schedule. "Fine. Meet me in the lobby." When he arrives, I lead him to the small cafe inside our office building instead of my department. We sit across from each other at a table with a solid oak surface between us. His gray hair catches the fluorescent light, more silver than I remember from just weeks ago. For the first time, I notice how deep the lines around his eyes have grown. "Your mother and sister are very upset about yesterday," he begins, hands folded on the table like he's presenting a business proposal. I've rehearsed this conversation a dozen times in my mind. Still, my heart hammers against my ribs. "I'm not apologizing for standing up for myself, Dad." His eyes narrow slightly. "Nobody's asking for an apology, Grace. A lie. We're just looking for a reasonable solution everyone can live with." I take a sip of water, giving myself time to steady my voice. "What exactly did you have in mind?" Dad straightens, sensing an opening for negotiation. "We've discussed it, and we're willing to compensate you for babysitting. Twice a month, you watch the twins, and we'll pay you a fair rate." A fair rate. The words taste bitter. And who decides what's fair? He pulls a small notepad from his breast pocket, always prepared with figures. "We thought $20 an hour. That's more than the high school girl down the street charges." I unclasp my purse and withdraw the folded spreadsheet I've carried for days, waiting for this moment. I slide it across the table. "What's this?" He unfolds the paper, forehead creasing. "That's my calculation of what the past 5 years of babysitting is worth at professional nanny rates, including overnight care, weekends, holidays, and last-minute cancellation fees." His eyes widen as he scans the total at the bottom. $27,460. I've memorized the figure, plus expenses. "This is ridiculous, Grace." The notepad disappears back into his pocket. "We're family." "Yes, we are, but family doesn't exploit family." The muscle in his jaw tightens. I've seen this expression before when contractors tried to change their quotes or when Mom spent too much on Rebecca's wedding. It's his, "This negotiation has become unfavorable" face. "Your sister has 2 children, he says, echoing Mom's favorite refrain. "Her life is complicated. You just have myself to worry about." I finish for him. "I know. I've heard that my entire life." "Then you understand why." "No, Dad, I don't understand." My voice remains quiet but firm, the tone I use in board meetings when I need to be heard. "I don't understand why my time is considered less valuable. Why my plans are less important. Why my life is an acceptable sacrifice." He shifts uncomfortably, glancing around the cafe. "You're overreacting, Gracie." He reaches for my hand, but I pull it back. "We can come to an arrangement that works for everyone. Maybe once a month instead of twice. Or we could agree to a set schedule so you can plan around it." I look at my father, really look at him, and see what I've missed all these years. He genuinely believes this is a negotiation. That my freedom, my boundaries, my very identity are items to be bartered over a business lunch. Dad, I say, my voice suddenly clear and strong. This isn't a negotiation. This is my life. The silence that follows feels like its own entity sitting heavily between us. His expression shifts from confusion to disbelief, then settles into something I've rarely seen: uncertainty. What exactly are you saying? He finally asks. I'm saying I'm done being the family resource. I'm done being Rebecca's backup plan and Mom's emotional support and your diplomatic solution. I stand, smoothing my bright blue blouse, a color I never wore before my transformation began. I love you all, but I can't be who I was anymore. His face hardens. After everything this family has done for you. That's the thing, Dad. I gather my purse, the weight of it suddenly lighter. When I added that up too, the balance wasn't what you think it is. I walk away without looking back, each step more certain than the last. Behind me, I hear him call my name once, but it fades under the sound of my heels against the tile floor, a rhythmic, determined beat. Back in my office, I power up my computer and open my email. The family group text has accumulated 67 new messages. I don't read them. Instead, I compose a new message, attaching the same spreadsheet I showed Dad. Consider my debt to this family paid in full. I type, adding a PDF of professional nanny service rates from 3 different agencies. I hover over the send button for 3 heartbeats, then press it firmly. My phone starts ringing immediately. Mark, Rebecca's husband. I silence it, then block his number. An email notification pops up. Grace, you can't just... I delete it without reading further. That evening, I drag 3 large garbage bags from my bedroom closet. Rebecca's hand-me-downs, designer clothes she tired of, passed down like I should be grateful. I fold each item neatly, placing them in donation boxes for the women's shelter. With each piece, I feel lighter, as if I'm shedding a skin that never quite fit. As I seal the last box, my phone lights up with a name I haven't seen in weeks. Caroline, my mother's oldest friend. Grace, honey, she begins, her voice hushed like she's sharing state secrets. Your mother called me in tears. She says you've cut the family off completely. She said you can't just... I already have, I interrupt, surprised by the calm in my voice. Silence stretches between us. Then, unexpectedly, good for you. I blink, certain I've misheard. What? I've watched this for years, Grace. Her voice softens. It was long overdue. After we hang up, shadows stretch across my newly secured apartment. I pour a glass of Merlot and settle onto my sofa. The weight of my phone feels different, now that it no longer carries the burden of unanswered demands. I've reclaimed my space, my time, my peace. A knock at my door startles me. Through the peephole, I see the building manager holding an envelope. Special delivery, he says when I open the door. Guy asked me to make sure you got it today. Said he's your father. I take the envelope, thanking him with a nod. The door closes with a satisfying click of the new lock. The envelope feels heavy in my hands, my father's precise handwriting spelling out my name. I run my fingers over the sealed edge, hesitating. Whatever truths lie within can wait until tomorrow. Tonight belongs to me alone. But curiosity wins. With trembling hands, I tear open the envelope and unfold the letter inside. After all these years, begins my father's familiar handwriting, I need to tell you the truth. I breathe in the scent of fresh paint and possibility. Morning light streams through uncurtained windows, casting golden rectangles across the bamboo floors of my new apartment. 3 months since I walked away from a lifetime of being an afterthought, and the silence still startles me, sometimes not oppressive, but peaceful. A silence I've chosen. My phone buzzes against the kitchen counter. I glance at it without the familiar twist of dread. The calendar notification reminds me. Painting class, 6 p.m. Below it, 2 text messages wait tone from Maria about our weekend hike. Another from Kevin asking if dinner tomorrow still works. I smile, tracing my finger across the screen. Real friends. A potential relationship with someone who asked what I wanted on our first date. I sip my coffee, savoring the bitter warmth as I look around my space. Cream walls I selected. Blue accent pillows no one told me were impractical. Half-finished canvases leaning against the far wall. Evidence of the art classes I'd always wanted to take but never had time for between Rebecca's emergencies. The phone rings, an unknown number. 3 months ago, I would have answered immediately, conditioned to be available. Today, I consider letting it go to voicemail, then decide to answer on my terms. Hello? Silence, then. Grace? Rebecca's voice, hesitant in a way I've never heard before. My grip tightens on the mug. Rebecca. I didn't understand before, she says, her voice catching. I do now. I move to the balcony, watching the morning commute 17 floors below. Cars like ants, people with their own stories, their own boundaries to build. Mark left. She continues. He said I treat people like they exist to serve me. The irony of her calling me with this revelation isn't lost on either of us. That sounds familiar, I say, not unkindly. How did you do it? The question hangs between us. How did you just walk away? I didn't walk away from you, Rebecca. I walked toward myself. After we hang up, I check my watch enough time before work to finish the painting I started yesterday. Bright colors capturing the sunset view from my balcony. No one to tell me it's a waste of time. No one's needs to put before my own. The memory of last night's housewarming party lingers pleasantly. My small apartment had filled with laughter. Maria and her husband, Kevin with his infectious smile, co-workers who'd become friends, and Elise from my painting class. People who chose to be there. People who saw me. To boundaries and new beginnings. Maria had toasted, raising her glass as everyone clinked in agreement. We'd celebrated not just my new apartment, but my new life, one built on mutual respect rather than obligation. Today at lunch, I meet with Jenna, a junior assistant from my department. Her eyes are red-rimmed as she describes her mother's midnight calls, her sister's expectation that Jenna will handle their father's medical appointments because she's the responsible one. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm, I tell her, the words I wish someone had said to me years ago. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's necessary. Later, an email appears in my inbox. An invitation to the twins' birthday party. No guilt-laden text. No assumption that I'll bring elaborate gifts or stay to clean up. Just an invitation, with a start and end time clearly marked. I hit reply, type, I'll be there from 2 to 4, and press send without agonizing over the wording. 6 months ago, such a brief response would have been unthinkable. As evening approaches, I set up my easel on the balcony. The sunset paints the sky in oranges and pinks that no canvas could fully capture, but I try anyway. My phone rings. Rebecca again. The boys are asking if you could watch them Saturday. I pause, brush hovering over canvas. My rate is $20 an hour, 2-hour minimum. The silence stretches only briefly before her response comes. That's fair, thank you. I smile, adding a streak of gold to the canvas. You're welcome. My life, reclaimed brushstroke by brushstroke. My boundaries honored word by word. And in that moment, I realized the most surprising truth of all genuine love can only exist within the framework of respect.